Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the channel, Car Revive. Day 2 of the Motorized Mongoose BMX. So we got a lot done in the previous video. Today we're going to be finishing up a few things like finally getting the chain established on where it's actually going to be mounted, which all I have to do is just install the links. Probably hook up the fuel tank, do some filing down on the bike as well, as far as those sharp edges that we cut last time. Also, we'll be installing the throttles on the bike as well, and many other missing components. So with that being said, let's just dive right into the video. Alright, so this is pretty much where we are. Fuel tank's installed, chain is hooked up, and aligned perfectly to not come in contact with the tire. Fuel tank installed, carburetor slightly installed. Right now what I'm actually doing is removing the handlebars on here to install the clutch and the gas and throttle and all that stuff. So here it goes. Kind of hard to record and work at the same time, but I got them all. It's coming together, guys. Slowly but surely, it's coming together. So right now I got my computer over there. A whole bunch of work clothes and crap and stuff. Just ignore that. It's just a pile. I just recently cleaned this off. But got my computer over here, and right now I'm just doing some quick, pretty much, I got the, so let me just explain something to you guys. I would say maybe 8+ months ago, one of my friends of mine, he built one of these things, but he ended up using a motorbike instead. And that got me the bright idea, like, hey, what if you could put a motor on a BMX bike? I thought it was so possible. I just thought you could just hook it up and woo and blah, blah, blah. Turns out, this is before I knew anything about it and all this other stuff. So the day that it came to install this thing, I had no knowledge on it, no research, but I did have a massive amount of tools to be able to get obviously this far, cutting the bike and all this other stuff. But so I knew about his project already, and so as I was just saying, I had no prior knowledge about how any of this goes. So the day that it came to me actually buying the bike, starting it, installing it, I ran into every type of problem that would not work. I tried installing the motor back here in this section here, tried to do it right here. Basically, I only had 2 places to be able to mount. Here on this pole and somewhere else, but we're not gonna get into all that. Here was the first place that I ended up doing it, but apparently one of my friends was saying something about how he think the fuel would have a problem with getting to the carburetor or something. And so I ended up looking on YouTube, and of course YouTube has so many videos on knowledge and this and that and how to do something. And of course I'm late to the party and people have already been doing this type of thing. But what brought me to the idea, I was thinking, hey, what if you can build these BMX motorized bikes and sell them? This bike cost me 180 bucks. Not gonna say the price of the motor. But if I could sell this thing for about 750, that'd be a massive amount of profit. Even selling it for $500 is still a nice amount of profit. But at the end of the day, you can use something like this as a platform to promote it. Like, hey, yeah, I built BMX motorbikes. And you can install the motors for about 300 bucks for them. Now, they do have to understand that the frame is just too small to do it. It's frankly impossible. And without the proper tools to make it actually even look worth like something, like I'm thinking about welding this shut completely closed, filing it down, making it even. And I'm thinking about doing the same thing back here, just filing this down and welding this completely closed so it just looks normal. Looks like it was never cut. But yeah, that's definitely the plan, and we've made tons of progress. But like I was just saying, I was late to the party and people have already been doing this type of thing 7+ years ago. There's tons of videos on building BMX motorbikes, and I happen to be late to the party. So yeah, that sucks. Seems to be I was not the only person with this idea, and other people thought of it too, basically. So right now what I'm actually doing is, obviously I got my computer out. I'm just doing some research on how these other few steps go, because of course I'm lazy and I don't have time to read a manual with pictures that are in black and white. What the hell is this? Man, I like where they're going with it, but pictures are in black and white. I like to see color. This doesn't help me whatsoever. So I'm hopping on the YouTube to pretty much finish off a few other things. Let's just do a brake test. Brakes are still working on the project. Everything looks nice. It's coming together. So I'll be back in a second, guys, once I'm ready to install fuel lines. That's pretty much what I'm working on right now. So I'll be back. So right now what I'm actually working on, guys, is the throttle cable. So right now what I'm actually working on is the throttle cable. So first things first, you got like this little angle tool here. I fed the brake piece through here, and I'm just aligning everything. So obviously this thing faces this way. I'm just gonna assume. Actually, I got this thing backwards, I can already tell. So I'll be back in a second when I flip this around. All right, guys, so I'm back. So basically fed this wire through here. This wraps into this piece here, and this just sits down in this section of the bike, kind of something like this. And that's pretty much how you get that started. So right now what I'm actually working on is the clutch lever. I pretty much just disassembled this thing. It sort of was like this piece on here, and this thing went connected to this. So what I'm doing first is obviously feeding this through this line here, and same thing with this piece here. Just pop it right over that. Okay, that's done. Grab this piece here, feed it through. Feed this through here, like so. And from there, you would have to get like this drum and through there. So I'll be back in a second. I can show you guys what I'm talking about. All right, so I got that drum piece obviously fed into the slot. Next thing left to do, pull this back. And it goes down in there like so. Then you take this thing here, and I got it backwards obviously, or yeah, I got it backwards. This piece twists into here like so. And then this one, oh, screwed up already. This goes on first. We put that there on the end. Let's kind of do it this way. Have this flipped. And this one, just put it right there. And from there, you should be able to feed all this into one piece. Pretty much till it stops. Okay, that's that. Bring everything together. That's basically it for that. Clutch is hooked up.
1 billion, zillion, jillion, dillion, cotillion times later.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Car Revive. Just made it back to the house. Haven't did too much to the Mongoose modified 100cc BMX bike yet, but today I'm pretty much gonna pick it up off where I left off. I already started installing the throttle Here it is right here. So the first time I actually had this hooked up, I just had like the screws holding it onto the handlebars, but I didn't have a hole drilled here. So basically if I pull this over, it'll just slide right off the bike. So I had to add that feature to it. So I just drilled a hole right here, obviously for this catch pin right there. Kind of got it lined up already where it's gonna go. Which is right about there. Now what I'm pretty much in the mix of doing is just adding all these screws in to finish off the throttle handle. So here it goes. There it is. Pretty much just got to tighten down one more screw on here. As you can see, may have to grease this a little bit, but yeah, the throttle's in place. It's probably not retracting because I actually don't have this end hooked up yet, but we're gonna get there. So this is the throttle on this side and the kill switch on it. All that's hooked up. Here's the other screw right here to this side. So let me just finish that up and I'll be back in a second. We'll probably start hooking up the clutch next on the bike. Probably install the seat back and then just go from there. So I'll be back. So right now I'm installing the clutch. This is the clutch right here. You guys already seen me like feed this through here and put the drum inside that slot there. So pretty much I'm just sliding this onto the bike handle. Like so.
They tell me that I'm never gonna make it. They want me to do something that can make sense.
And I already ran it how I wanted it to go. I pretty much ran it through the handlebars right here. Try to eliminate more of those wires that are floating around. So it's gonna look something just like this.
Get a good job, don't slack off. Wake up every morning, make a good impression.
Clutch.
Don't do anything that I wouldn't do.
I'm gonna have to slide it on a little bit more, obviously. That way when I install my other black and silver handle, it should be above right. Clutch should be above right there. But I will have it tilted forward. Kind of have it symmetric to the handle that's going on this side. Check that out, guys. It's coming together. So pretty much I got the handle installed where I want it. Pop in my screw, put the nut on the bottom, and just tighten it down. That's pretty much it with that. So I'm gonna try to see if I can do this with one hand while recording.
Just to be in control of my life soon. All the negativity, man, I'm immune. I don't really need a mask with all I've been through. I've been making changes for the ages. 5-10 year plans are contagious. I attack that shit, I'm tenacious. And if you ain't, get the fuck out of my way then. Got one in life, I won't regret it. I will fight until I get it. I'll look back one day from
started.
damn, I learned some lessons and said, damn, I had no questions. I had fun in every second, and the journey was a blessing, yeah. They tell me that I'm never gonna make it. They want me to do something that can make sense. They hate when I keep dreaming I'll be famous. But I don't give a fuck, I'ma keep chasing. They tell me that I'm never gonna make it. They want me to do something that can make sense. They hate when I keep dreaming I'll be famous. But I don't give a fuck, I'ma keep chasing.
I've pretty much been doing a little bit at a time because I don't want to rush. I pretty much don't want to rush like how I'm putting it together or whatever. So may have to make some adjustments with that, but it's pretty much hooked up. Next thing I'm going to go to is hooking the clutch up to where it goes basically, which is this area here, back here on the bike. So I'll be back in a second. All right guys, so I pretty much just set up my clutch here. I put like this bigger spring right here off to the side, and I may have to end up thinking of a better idea on how I'm gonna wire this. Or not wire it. Yeah, well, basically wire it, run it. May have to do something like, I may put like some heat wrap around this thing just to prevent it from getting damaged, but for the most part I may just do something like this with this wire. Go right here with it and somewhere up in this angle right here, but a little less slack on it like this, and it'll be like something like this. So basically this right here will be like zip tied in position to stay away from the motor, and up here this will be just neatly ran and zip tied there, and then I'll cut off the ends. That way it kind of looks like it's blending with the bike. You can barely tell that it's there, but for the most part clutch is definitely working. So it's not sticking, it's closing like it's supposed to. Before I even had the wire hooked up and I was pulling this, the drum was like catching, like it wouldn't want to close. So for the most part, I'm pretty sure this is hooked up properly. I will double check everything before I start it. So the clutch is hooked up. Next thing to do now is hook up our kill switch on the bike, which is to shut the motor off completely, and hook up the throttle. So here it goes. I'll be back in a second guys and show you exactly how I'm gonna do it. So I'll be back in a minute. All right guys, so I just showed you pretty much the clutch. I definitely want to finish up the front end, so next thing I'm about to do is just install this handle. It kind of has like a little rubber in the inside, so it's kind of hard to slide it on there. So the way I'm about to get it on there, shout out to Herbal Essence and the mousse. Just gonna mousse this up a little bit, get it nice and slippery. Get it nice and slippery. Yep, just like that. And then from there, lube up the hole. Grab me some herbal. Grab me a little herbal essence. A little generous squirt. Lube up the inside a little bit, get it started. And then from there, Hold the bike for me one second so we don't like tip over. From there, just push and turn it on basically at that point. I actually seen a video online, some guy used hair product too. I was like, hey, that's not a bad idea. It's better than trying to force it. And look how I got that so perfect, guys, on where I got my clutch. I probably can go back a little bit more, which I will. So let me, you see that gap? I'll be back in a second. So we got our gap a little bit closed a little bit more, and that's basically it right there. Front end is coming together. I will make a few more adjustments, like this thing obviously is just rattling around, so I'm gonna have to think of a way to make it more secure and stable where it's not bouncing and jumping around. Obviously more bolts and screws is gonna fix that problem, but we're pretty much in the clear. I'm probably gonna move this up here off by the handlebars instead of having it off to the side. And I do have a few other great ideas for this thing. Like I was thinking about trying to see if I can hook signal lights up on it somehow and just use my brain and try to figure out something. Like you guys remember like those old Christmas light boxes where you can change like the lights, how they flicker. I was thinking about hooking up some lights to one of those and just doing some research online to see if I can hook up signal lights and get them like kind of like maybe modified into the back of the seat somehow, like where this is the left signal and this one is the right signal. I'm coming up with some pretty ingenious ideas for this thing. I probably will paint this back black, just hit it with some black paint, some spray. Kind of got some clear coat laying around, but I still gotta like file this down smooth. I'm thinking about grabbing like some sheet metal, obviously trace out the circle and close this hole, and maybe even slap some extra stickers over it to give it a more pop idea, like some skulls and something. But yeah, it's coming together nice. So the clutch is installed. Next thing we're probably gonna do is the throttle. So I'll be back in a second. Let me filter out some of this stuff and kind of get the throttle set up, and I'll be back and I'll show you guys exactly how that's gonna go. So I'll be back in a moment. So I'm next to the bike and just doing some quick research on how this actually goes. Apparently it started off something like this. I remove this little rubber thing, and then from there you unscrew this, take this off, and then from there this is inside this hole, so you pull this out like so, and then you grab this line here, which is the throttle cable on this side, the throttle. You grab the cable, grab this rubber piece, you put this over the end of the cable, you just push it down and have it seated. Then you grab the spring next. No, it's not how you do it. You grab this thing next, and you put this thing inside of here. And then from there, you grab the spring and put that on. And then after all of that is actually hooked up, you grab all of it in one piece, and you leave the spring intact. Now you wanna feed the spring through here, And then you look for an opening on this black piece right here with the tip out. And then you find that opening at the top, which is right here. Right there. And you feed it over with the cable, and it should look something like this when it's connected. It should look something like this when it's actually hooked up. So actually, when it's actually hooked up, you take this piece here and you look inside this hole where this screw right here is. The screw, and you line it up with that. The slip that's right there. I got it backwards. So you want to be able to have like that spring facing you when you feed this in here, just like that. So I got it facing the wrong way. It's supposed to be facing this way right here. Just like that. To where it's all the way down. Like right there is all the way down, just like that. And after you have it connected, you screw this down and tighten it. That's pretty much how you hook up the clutch. So what I'm actually in the mix of doing right now is I'm just gonna run this wire exactly how I want it. So I'm probably gonna go in front and around this pole right here. Just to kind of eliminate some of the line and put it to some use. And then from there, I'm going to put it in here just like that and start tightening it down. So I'll be back once I got this tightened down in a second. All right, so I pretty much got this hooked up for the most part. I may flip this rubber thing around. Yeah, I don't know. I may just leave it like this because I think this is how it's actually supposed to be. But what I'm thinking about actually doing is eliminating some slack on this wire right here. I was thinking about just having it nicely zip tied right there, all to the side. And this is pretty much where the bike is right now. It's coming together slow. I'm thinking about doing my first start on it today, just to see if it turns over and starts and everything. So let me just tweak some of these zip ties in place. Oh, definitely can't forget to pop this in right away. That's actually what I wanted to show you guys. Installing the spark plug. Kind of want to get it slowly started, like go in and out with it. There it is right there, where I can turn it in by hand all the way. So it's stopped, it's in there by hand tight. We're getting somewhere. Spark plugs in. Only thing really left to hook up now at this point is just the fuel. And put some gas in this thing and change up a few things, like move this around. I may just hold off on that for right now. I really just want to see if I can crank this thing over today and get its first start. So I'll be back in a second. Let me grab the gasket, which I found in here really oddly. I don't know how that actually got in there. Pop this right in to the exhaust right away. Put my brakes back on the bike right away. Because if I'm gonna turn it over and start it today and rev it a couple times, obviously I'm gonna go a few feet. I wanna be able to stop. So I'll be back in a second, guys. So right now what I'm actually doing is I'm removing the exhaust to put the gasket in right away. Exhaust gasket. Kind of doing this like I never put the exhaust on. Dropping bolts, mislining up stuff. This is probably like the 7th time I put the exhaust on. So I was test fitting and nothing was really working. Now we are actually getting somewhere. This thing's actually pretty much together. So I got the brakes finally hooked up on here. I may take a little bit of slack off here. This is where I pretty much originally had it clamped down. I may go somewhere in between there, but first things first is to test it out, ride it, and then make your adjustments. But for the most part, in the looks of it, it looks like the brake is actually already touching the wheel, and it is. It is. So I have to make an adjustment with this. What I may end up doing is taking off one of these washers. So I'll be back in a second.